Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another Sims 4 speed build for you, and this one is a little bit different than usual for me because I decided to make a base game starter home. So I did this because since the game just went free to play for players, I wanted to make a house that everyone can use, even if you don't have like any of the expansion packs or anything. But I wanted it to kind of look interesting and not like a really plain base game home, if that makes sense. And I did build this over on my Twitch channel, so if you want to come hang out with me while I build, be sure to check that out. It is in the description down below. But I'm not gonna lie, this was a huge struggle for me. So if you're new to the channel, or, if you haven't realized it yet, I spend a lot of simoleons when I build. Like, I do not pay attention to my budget. I just kind of do whatever it is that I want to do. So I was thinking, yeah, this is great. We'll have a 2-bedroom, beautiful home. Like, this is going so well. Yeah, the budget became an issue. So this home only ended up costing almost 18,000 simoleons. So I I literally spent 17,996 simoleons. I believe that leaves you with like 4 simoleons, about four or 6 simoleons left after the lot is actually bought. So your sim can survive for like a day before they need to have a job and get a paycheck, but it is a home that you can move into, and in particular it is a home that you can move into just with one sim. You can actually see my sim out in front. I literally just went in to create a sim and I was like, sure, that looks good, and moved them in so I have the proper budget, and I knew what that was going to look like, and I could actually easily keep track of it there at the bottom, because usually when I build, it's got like just that like little infinity symbol and you can just build to your heart's content and not worry about a budget. But since I wanted to be cognizant of a budget, I decided to actually use a sim in this build, and I was so excited. I do love the way this build turned out, but it definitely changed. Like I said, the budget, it was going. Like, at this point, I'm already down to 8,000 simoleons, and I don't have anything in the house yet. Like, and I wanted 2 beautiful bedrooms, a bathroom, like a nice, like, dining, kitchen, living space. I mean, yeah, so you can see I'm starting to realize that I have spent a little bit too much money, so I am slowly shrinking it down so that you can actually, have things in the home. But I do continue to shrink it because I needed more money. Because I did want it to look nice on the inside too. I didn't want it to be too bare. Now, the way it is, like, there is plenty of room for you to expand, add more items as your Sims make more money. And that's if you want to download it off the gallery and play with it. It is already up on the Sims 4 gallery under my ID, spicensprinkles, all one word and all lowercase, if you want to download it and use it. And as always, it doesn't hurt my feelings if you want to just use it for a shell and then gut it and change it, do whatever you want with it. That's totally fine with me. And you can see I'm trying to figure out, I'm thinking that's where I want the kitchen. But I realized that, like I said, there's not enough room, or I spent too much money on the room. So I do have to alter it a little bit, but I think it really does come out well in the end. And I did shift it. It is only 1 bedroom, but I figure if it was a starter home for a family that only has 20,000 simoleons, then that's fine. So when you make a family, like a larger family, you get more money when you start. And in this case, if you only have 1 sim, you only get the 20,000 simoleons. So I just stuck with that. So I would have had more money had there would have been multiple sims or kids in this family. But since there weren't, I decided, you know what, 1 bedroom is actually probably fine. But to be honest, I still think there ends up being a lot of room in here. And I did end up going with this really pretty green color as the accent in this home. So you will see it throughout the home. And it definitely was interesting trying to build with base game because I'm used to having all of the packs and like having access to all of those different items. And I honestly feel like it is a little bit harder to build with base game in terms of budget, because I feel like some of the items that we get in some of the other packs are actually cheaper than the base game items. So I felt like I was actually spending a little more money than maybe I would have otherwise if I was trying to just make a starter home but could use all of the packs, if that makes sense. And here you can see I shifted the kitchen to that back, and I really wanted to have that like hallway space there, but I do end up moving it around because, like I said, I end up having to shrink the left side of the house a lot. And I actually at one point moved the entrance to be where I thought the bedroom was going to be, but I swap it back. Like, it was a whole thing. But this was a lot of fun to build, and I did it actually. So I did this the day of the summit. So I know that I had some hypotheses in my last speed builds about maybe what was coming out. So I am so excited, like, that we have some starting imagery of what will probably be The Sims 5. They just call it Project Renee. So I don't exactly know what they mean by that. For all I know, I mean, it could be a whole new game. It could be maybe a giant update to Sims 4 and they just make it like The Sims like game. I have no idea. So I'm just like speculating and really excited to see what's coming. But I do have a reaction video up on the channel if you want to see. I honestly, like, it was a little bit chaotic for me. Like, I went through a lot of emotions while watching it. So we end up actually getting to see that they're hoping, I guess, since it's still, you know, new and they're still working on this, that we're going to be able to actually customize pieces of furniture. So like we can mix and match like headboards with beds and different, we even get a color wheel, which is like, I mean, amazing. And that better stay, because they kept saying, oh, this is, you know, still in production and all that. Yeah, if they don't actually give us a color wheel, I don't know. I feel like the whole Sims community would be just like outraged. So I'm hoping they don't change that. But they even had it to where you could add like pillows to stuff. Oh my gosh, I think that's at the point where I lost my mind just a little bit, because I would love to be able to add pillows and things to couches. Like, imagine like this couch right here, like if I was able to actually put down like a throw or a pillow or something, and like I feel like that would totally change the look of it and could also just make totally new items. So I'm really looking forward to what's in store for The Sims. And they did also mention something about 2 expansion packs, but I don't think they mentioned in the like summit what they were or when they're coming out. Like I said, I was pretty like all over the place when I was watching it because I was so overwhelmed. I was so excited. And they also talked a little bit about the Sims Mobile and Sims Free Play and some of the updates coming to that. And they were also talking about like being able to build on like a mobile device, like with the same build. I'm not really sure. So I'm curious to see how that actually, you know, comes to life later on and if that actually sticks around. And also, I mean, something super exciting is we're getting functional like babies. It looks like there's like playpens and we can actually interact with the babies and they actually act like babies. And if you weren't aware, in The Sims right now, babies are basically just objects. Like, and what I mean by that is they literally just sit in their crib and they cry and you just walk over there and change their diaper. Like, there's not a lot to do. Like, you can't take them places with you. You can't like do much with them. They just kind of exist until they age up. So it looks like they're bringing us an update. They said they were expecting in 2023. I'm not exactly sure when. I'm hoping earlier rather than later, to be honest. But I think that is really exciting for gameplay and really being able to experience like that family gameplay that a lot of people use. So I'm curious to see what that's going to look like. I am really excited about it. And here you can see that I'm messing around a little bit with a lot of the different wallpapers, and I really liked that leaf wallpaper, but it just felt like a lot in that space. And I did around the faux fireplace do like brick on the wall to, again, kind of make it look like a fireplace when it wasn't. I feel like if I was playing in this home and I was like updating it, I probably would actually replace it with a real fireplace when I got some money, you know, that kind of thing. And then, like I said, this actually ended up being a very spacious home. I think there's plenty of like room to grow, and I think this would actually be pretty easy to add more rooms onto if you'd like to. And I do end up using a bunch of debug items outside for the landscaping because I prioritized using most of the money inside for items instead of stuff outside. But that isn't a problem. Just be sure to, you know, put on bb.moveObjects when you place the home, and then you shouldn't really have any issues and everything should show up. But I think debug is a great way to actually get some items in some like less expensive homes so that you can actually have stuff inside your home and not have to trade out like whether I'm going to spend money inside or outside. And I'm sure I probably could save money by using different windows and different doors, but I was in love with the way this looked on the outside, and I was like, I'm not changing it. I was very stubborn about that. I didn't want to change out the doors or windows because I just liked the way that it was actually coming out. And I will say, when I was taking the screenshots for this, I used that sim that is out front. I've never had this happen before, but she started a fire. She lit herself on fire while she was cooking. I have never had that happen during screenshots, which honestly is kind of shocking because Sims do that a lot. They set stoves on fire a lot. Well, they just set fires in general a lot. So, I mean, in hindsight, I guess it's kind of surprising I haven't had that happen, but this was the first time it happened. So I actually got some footage of her like catching the stove on fire and everything. And I mean, I thought it was so funny. And so that's coming at the end before the screenshots. I did include that footage because honestly, it cracked me up. And of course, near the end of this build too, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot a trash can. I forgot lights outside. So I was sitting here like trading out objects to get some more simoleons so that I could afford those things for this home. And then at this point, I was like, wow, this house is small. It looked a lot bigger originally, but I think, you know, like I said, there's a lot of room to expand, so you can definitely do some stuff with it, and you could also probably put this on a smaller lot. Right now, this is on a 20 by 30, but I feel like you should be able to put this on a 20 by 15. I think at least the home itself, like I do end up putting some stuff out in the back, like as part of the yard. So like that would get cut off. But if you wanted just the house itself on a smaller lot, I think that would definitely be doable. So I pulled all of this landscaping out of debug. You can see I'm like scrolling through like for ages trying to find stuff. And I was like, maybe eventually I'll find a debug fence that I could put in, because I definitely could not afford one with the budget I had, which at this point was 12 simoleons. So I do end up finding these really pretty like paving stones, and honestly I pulled a lot of them out because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I do actually end up putting in kind of a makeshift driveway because I thought that would be kind of fun and a little more realistic and fill in some of that backyard space. And I do end up having to go back and get some more of those out of debug, and I don't know if I've ever actually seen that pond before, so I pulled it out because like, I don't know, maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. I don't use it. I do end up deleting it. It just didn't feel quite right. And then I just added in some rocks here out front, and I think it's looking pretty good actually with adding all of that extra vegetation. I think really brings the build to life. And I actually do a 2-car like driveway, so there is going to be another car here. And I know I only took screenshots of one sim, but there's room for 2, so like I feel like that's definitely doable. Or maybe like that sim just had some company over, because there's plenty of room to have company over on this lot. So of course, like I said, you can play with this lot however you want to. That was just how I took screenshots and how I was thinking about it. But I found this really pretty stone fence that I could kind of put together here in the backyard. And I do actually end up making it a little bit smaller because, again, I didn't have much money. I couldn't really put much outside. So it just looked like a really large space. And so I do shrink it a little bit, and then I do swap some items out and find some simoleons to actually put a table outside and a planter box, so your sim has some stuff to do and maybe an extra way to make some money. So I think it honestly turned out really nice, especially on the budget and given like some of the choices I made. I mean, I could have made some cheaper choices like with different like windows and stuff like that. And of course I didn't need to do that bump out at the top with the windows, but I just thought that looked so cool that I wanted to keep it because I feel like it gave it a little more personality. And here I'm painstakingly adding terrain paint around every single one of those stones. Hopefully if you download it, it doesn't delete the terrain paint, because that's an issue. If it does, you can easily just add that back. I just used just like a dirt color to add a little bit. I think it adds a lot of dimension and makes it look a little more realistic, because I feel like you would have dirt and stuff around all of those paving stones. And like I said here, I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do, things I'm going to delete, add back, like how do I, you know, make this work a little bit better and save a little more money, because I really wanted to put something out back. And I wish I could have put a grill, but the grill, I think even the cheapest one was like 650 simoleons. So no, I would have to like sell the stove. Like I would have to trade it out, and that's what you get. You just get a grill, because it was like so expensive, and I don't think I was expecting it to be that expensive, especially like the small one that you use like in parks. But you know, we didn't end up with one. But like I said, I did find enough simoleons to put planter box out here. I thought about putting 2, but I think I only end up with 1. And so there's a really nice seating area out here. Your sim can use everything. It's been play tested. So, you know, feel free to download this if you'd like to. And I mean, I think this really is a nice starter home. And I mean, I think it looks better than some of the other ones that are in the base game worlds that we got like with the game. But like I said, I mean, I feel like you could trade stuff out if you wanted to, that kind of thing, try to find cheaper wallpaper or floors. But we are getting near the end of this video, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would really appreciate it, and it would help me out a lot. And of course, down below, let me know if you want to see anything else on the channel in the comments, or just how you feel about how the Sim Summit went and what you're excited about. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. And I hope you have a really sweet day. Bye, everybody.